All right, Ron, welcome to Disco Acid Cult TV. We were right on time tonight. It is 6 p.m. I think we're usually like a minute or two late. Fucking Protomax is more on time than us, as usual.
What's up, Protomax?
Well, I guess first things first, I'll play. It sucks. I have it pulled up on Dropbox because my streaming service sucks when I upload a video in-house, but it works better when I screen share, which is kind of the opposite of how it's supposed to go. The big news of our fucking like week or month or whatever you want to call it is that Tommy Lee, dude, this reel's doing killer. It's still going strong. It slows down sometimes and then it picks up sometimes. It's at 176,000 plays on Instagram, 3,828 likes, and then 11.1k shares. I want to know who is sharing this around so much.
Oh,
what's Star Glass? What's up, man?
Old buddy Globstar is back.
Is that the Camp Rock?
Yeah, our Camp Rock alumni buddy. Dude, Camp Rock alumni buddy. We are good pals with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue now. When I say good pals, I mean that very loosely. He reposted a reel of ours. All right, hold up. Yeah, all that matters is that you can see his name. I know it's kind of small. I don't even think I could zoom in on this thing.
Yes, the actual Tommy Lee shared our reel.
Yeah, look, I don't think you can see his name too well, but it's just
Can you like zoom in on that?
No, because I got it pulled up on Dropbox.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think this through. But you can see his name right there up top, kind of. It's in fact, now that I'm zooming in on it, I can't even play it. I don't need to play the whole thing, obviously. Yeah, as shitty as it is for Dave Grohl to cheat on his wife and Perry Farrell to fight his guitar player on stage, somebody's got to do it, you know. It's hilarious that Tommy Lee, of all people, reposted the video of me saying that in order to be rock and roll, you have to cheat on your wife.
I think he really liked the fact that you were like, yeah, these old guys are still carrying the torch. He's like, I'm an old guy.
Dude, so some people didn't understand it. So I've gotten, all the comments I've gotten have all been very similar. The majority of them are people that are, which is, I meant to talk about this last week. The majority of them are people that get it. And it's funny because a lot of the people that get it are in bands. And this goes from, like I've mentioned, Alice Cooper's current guitar player. He commented on it. Former bass player for Danzig. He commented on it. Just today, the bass player for Sum 41 liked it. A lot of bass players.
What? Oh, wow.
I mentioned that in our messages. I don't think you saw it. Yeah, Sum 41's bass player liked it. There was someone else. I can't remember who. It's a lot of musicians have come around to it. There's a small handful of people that think it's just total bullshit. They don't understand any of it, and they're like, "No, this is just this is an old douchebag take." Blah, you know, these. And then you look at them, and it's like, "Okay, you're a nerd. You're exactly who I'm talking about in the reel." So that makes sense. Yeah, no, there's always exceptions. Like I mentioned earlier, Rush is a big exception. I mentioned that in a comment to someone. Ringo Starr's also never really fucked around on his wife that I know of. So there's exceptions. The other people that have commented on it are people that are saying, oh, well, you're just not looking hard enough for good rock and roll bands today. And I'm like, well, that's kind of my point. Back in the day, you didn't have to look hard for them. You just turned on your TV or your radio, and there they were. And then there's people that are going, well, there's more to it than that. It's also the record industry and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you look at our whole page, you see that I've got 2 other reels where I talk about the exact issues you're bringing up. But yeah, so everyone's kind of in one camp. Most of the people seem to get it. They think it's hilarious and they like it. And it's the people in bands, coincidentally, that are like, yeah, this is hilarious. But yeah, Tommy Lee of all people. Tommy Lee saw it and he was like, yeah, this is great. Oh, there's another group of people that don't seem to understand. They think I'm talking shit about the old guys, the old rock stars, and I have to comment back and say, no, I'm crediting the old guys with being the only ones to keep rock and roll alive. That's what I'm saying, is that the young people are not picking up the torch, but instead Perry Farrell, who I recently looked up, is literally 5 years younger than my grandfather, is doing this shit while you've got these 21-year-olds that are just playing around on their computers making, you know, whatever kind of music you want to call that. Which I can't talk shit about computer music. I was just listening to Juice WRLD earlier today. I fucking love shit like that. But
yeah, no.
Yeah, Blue Chew. But yeah, it's some people get it, some people don't. like I said, I think it's funny that the people that seem to get it are musicians. That's kind of worked out pretty well. I've never listened to Polyphia. Aren't they like one of those like super technical? I could be wrong. I'm thinking of Polyphia. It says rock band, but aren't they like like a progressive instrumental progressive rock? I'm not really into instrumental stuff, honestly. I could listen to some stuff if you've got give me like some song recommendations.
Tommy Lee is down with disco acid. I like that. That's good.
I had to think of something.
That's perfect.
But yeah, so at some point in our future, I'm gonna launch a campaign to get as many people as I can to harass Tommy Lee. He's got like 2 million followers on Instagram. He
Well,
probably
did you message him?
no, he's got his notifications turned off.
Yeah, because you know how many people probably are like, hey, like, you know,
Well,
whatever.
I know that when you have like a certain amount, Instagram doesn't even notify you at all.
Yeah, the original Disco Acid page doesn't, or it didn't any, but so
I'll tell you who does.
We'd have to launch like a full-on internet deal and get enough people to blow him up.
I'll tell you who doesn't have their notifications turned off. Andy Dick.
Yeah. we tried with the Andy Dick thing. It didn't. It's funny that this guy mentions dick, bunch of dick pics with Motley Crue tats on them. I mean, yeah, if there's enough dick pics with if there's enough people with Motley Crue dick tattoos, we could try to enlist them into our army and get them to harass Tommy Lee on our behalf. We were like potentially Andy Dick is a predator. We went back and forth with Andy Dick for like a couple messages to get him on, but yeah, obviously it didn't work out, which is totally fine. By the time it didn't work out, I was like, it's all good. I don't think it was going to benefit the show. If anything, honestly, I think it would have hindered us. I think at this point of how small we are, the only comments we would have gotten, how could you guys give this guy a fucking, you need to be at a certain, like Danny Mullen has him on, but Danny Mullen's got over 800,000 subscribers. He's got fans that are set in stone. We don't have anybody that's set in stone. We would just get like 2 or 3 comments on the video with him saying, Andy Dick used to do all this stuff and then we would just look bad. So it probably is honestly in our favor. And it's not like Andy Dick would have roped us even 1,000 subscribers. Andy Dick at the most would have, I'm not even kidding, probably like 10 to 20 subscribers at the absolute most.
Yesterday, I was talking to my tattoo artist about Andy Dick, and because I've told you guys that he used to just kind of like bar hop and be super belligerent, and he's basically banned from all
Everywhere.
the bars here. And so where I live, there's like this really long boulevard that stretches for miles and miles, and it's filled with tons of bars. And so yesterday he was telling me how like he would go out and then he would see Andy like walking the boulevard like late at night, just completely drunk, and then just like picking fights with random people on the streets and like screaming, and just he was chaotic. He said he said he was really rude, but
there's some great videos of him online, for sure. I was like, I don't know. I never kept tabs on Andy Dick. Like, I know he was huge in the 90s. I remember growing up watching stuff with him in it, but like, I didn't know that, it took the turn the way it did. I wish him the best. I hope it all works out, but it's just very interesting how it's turned.
Yeah, he seems like one of those guys that just couldn't some people can't handle. You hand him $1 million and it's
yeah, he could have, if he kept it on the right track, he could have been huge even now. You know what I mean? He is a funny guy, dude. He's hilarious. Like, if you really watch some of his shit, and he's funny, but like, he kind of, like you said, some people can't take stardom,
Yeah, I'm almost positive if you handed me $1 million and 100,000 subscribers right now, I'd go get myself into some trouble. I would not get myself into Andy Dick trouble. I can guarantee you that, because I'm not interested in some of the things that Andy Dick has shown to be interested in. But I would get myself into some trouble.
You'd crash a scooter drunk.
Oh,
for sure.
It'd be trouble that I could be back here on stream like next week, no problem. Andy Dick now dwells in the world of IRL streamers with it. Yeah, see, we didn't have cocaine to pay him with. I told you guys. We should have had a bag of cocaine ready to go. But no, like I said, I'm sure it honestly benefits us that we couldn't get him on. I think at first it was a cool idea just because it was like, oh, it's somebody with a name, but I don't think it's a name that necessarily would have helped the channel, especially when we have under 150 subscribers.
Everything, everywhere, everybody. Unless it's just a coincidence. Remember that it was Spun something that somebody was in our chat. It was like Spun TV or something. It was the same, same thumbnail as that. I don't know if you're that same person or not.
Wasn't that a Twitch person though?
I don't know. Maybe it was just a coincidence that picture is the same.
Yeah, everything, everywhere, everybody. Have you been in our chat before? Do we know you and we're just blanking, or are you new here?
It's Tim.
Everyone is just Tim.
Everyone's Tim.
Yeah,
He's got 6 different computers hooked up in the castle.
He can't use Jenny anymore, so.
No, not you, Globestar. The people you can't see it, but people are commenting below you.
God, I have jury duty on the 18th. I have to call.
Oh, dude, I would love to go to jury duty. Like everyone's like, man, what do you mean? Like you love crime and stuff? Wouldn't that be cool?
Let me tell you my problem. So first of all, I don't know if I have to go. I have you got to call the night before to see if they want you to go. My problem with jury duty is that every time I've ever gone, dude, I would be so down if I rolled up and it was like a guy that murdered 12 people over the course of. But I hate that when I go, it's like a Mexican guy that got drunk and beat his wife. Like I don't give a shit. And I mean that literally. I remember one time I literally got a Mexican guy who beat his wife, and I was like, I don't care. Like, he probably did it. Like, who fucking cares?
Right, but looking at isn't it Superior Court? Isn't it Superior Court though? So isn't it something serious?
Not whenever I go. Apparently, it's just a guy who hit his wife, and it's like
so. I have some stories. So. One of my girlfriends, she years ago got jury duty, and it was some kind of case where I don't know what the case was, but it dealt with Armenians, and she had the audacity to go in front of the court and say, I can't
that she's racist
here because she's racist against Armenians because when she was a child, her parents were renting an apartment, and they were renting from Armenians. And I guess the Armenians were really just cruel renters to them and just fucked them over. So she said in front of the judge that she couldn't be there because she would discriminate against them. So they let her go. But I've had 2 jury notices. The first one I didn't have to go, but the last one a couple years ago I had to go, and they actually let me go. I was it was a whole thing because the case was a drunk driving incident, of course, where somebody killed another, and I happened to have I had 2 things. I had a friend that had went to jail or prison for a couple of years for the exact same thing. And then I also had an ex-boyfriend that was killed out of a similar situation. So I had to go in front and cry about it and make a thing. And then they were like, get the fuck out of here. And then I remember because they were going through all the jurors of okay, who can be here and who can't. And then you could kind of tell, when people would get up and leave, you could see the desperation in all the other jurors' faces. Okay, I gotta scramble some excuse to get out of here. This one girl was like, I can't be here because I'm really anxious talking in public. God. And the judge looked at her so do you go to work? And she's like, yeah, I work at Starbucks. And he was like, well, you clearly aren't anxious to talk to people every day at work, so you can be here. And he was like, sit the fuck down. And then I remember when they said juror, whatever, you can leave. And I got up and left. Everybody in the room gave me a nasty face. I want to be you and leave.
It was great. One time the best, and it's funny because it wasn't even actually an excuse. The best reason I got out of jury duty one time, I got called into jury duty literally less than a week after moving back into my mom's house to get off heroin. And so it was before we actually went into the courtroom. we were in a room where they like, you watch the videos about jury duty and why it's your civic duty. And they this time they like gave us a piece of paper and they were like, write down any reasons you don't think you should be qualified to do this. And I literally wrote, I'm like 3 days off of heroin. I need to go to rehab. And they were like, okay, you're good. Like, we'll see you.
This guy's not in his right mind.
Yeah, we'll see you in like 2 years or whatever it is. And then the last time I got called, I moved and they sent it to my old address, which is in a different county. So I had to call them and say, hey, I've recently moved. And they were like, okay, we'll close you out and then we'll send you a new one whenever. And this is that new one, apparently.
Before I moved to South Carolina, like the week of me moving, I got a jury duty card and I was like, dude, I've always wanted to do this, but I can't. So I had to send them proof that I was moving and they dismissed me. But I don't know, man. Like I'm surprised to hear you guys say that you wouldn't want to. Well, unless it was something serious. But like I know we all have a love for crime stuff. So like I would love to be able to like deliberate on like you said, like a double murder or something. Like it'd be cool.
Let me also explain my take on jury duty completely, like as a whole, is I think it should be a career. They should have trained jurors because, dude, I got called in for jury duty when I was like 18. And I was like, bro, if I was on court for a serious crime, I don't want an 18-year-old on my jury deciding that I don't want some douchebag stoner deciding, or some heroin addict.
But it's supposed to be like a jury of your peers and societies.
Okay, so we're not all peers. Let's be real about that. Like we're not all the same peers. I don't want my peers deciding my fate necessarily.
Yeah, you got Annie after a tattoo appointment, and you got Rob off of heroin.
Yeah, like there should be you should go to school for this. It should be something that because there's plenty of people that would be enthusiastic in the world. Like my grandpa. My grandpa's one of those. It's your civic duty. Like he would go every time they call those guys up every time. Don't call people that are 3 days off of heroin.
Like
I know they don't. I know they don't know that. But if you just had a system for picking people that are trusted and responsible every time. I get the idea, like jury of your peers, just like your fellow Americans. But dude, some of your fellow Americans are fucking retarded. Let's call it how it is. We don't need them deciding the fate of people that have done some serious shit.
Like you said, right? So like 18-year-old Rob is definitely different than, 30-something-year-old Rob.
Yeah.
Same thing for me, dude. I was so different at 18. Like, who knows if I would have like had the same opinion then that I have now of a case. Like that's pretty shitty, like you said.
I kind of feel like it would make sense for them to pick people like over the age of 25 at least,
or even like over 35. Honestly,
yeah,
more mature, more established.
It has to be like between the ages, of maybe like 30, 35 to like 65. You don't want too young or too old because you don't want some like 80-year-old man that's still, his morals are left in, the 40s, like bringing to the table.
On top of that, they need to pay these people more because some people have to take time off work, and let's not act like jury duty pays you like livable wages. So we're
$35 for the day. Dude.
Yeah, so you're sacrificing. Some people probably make like around $100 a day or even more, and feed their family with that shit. And we'll pay you $35. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do $35 today? I won't even fill up my gas tank. Like, fuck you guys.
That's the only nice thing I will say about like working for like municipalities and like county stuff. Like they'll pay you your normal pay to go there. You know what I mean? Because it's like federal, state, whatever bullshit. But yeah.
Man, yeah. So fuck, I have to call tomorrow night and see if I have to go.
Can you transfer it to me? It's California.
Yeah. Dude, what if I go and it's like Gavin Newsom's on trial for having too many girls eat his ass?
Too many tongues in his ass.
Yeah.
The jury, find that Gavin Newsom had too many tongues in his ass. Guilty.
Like, sir, there is a limit, believe it or not. Dude, yeah, fuck. I keep thinking about that. My my stepdad he's never called like his entire life for a jury duty.
He just tosses the.
So
I think most people just toss him.
My stepdad is like the I don't want to say the most vanilla guy you could ever imagine, but he's just he works construction. He goes to work. He goes home. He watches football. He's very quiet, kind of stone faced. Very. So he's never done anything wrong, and I doubt he's ever like broken a law in his life. So my mom and I joke that like one day he'll be speeding to work or something, and he'll get pulled over, and the cops will run him and be like, "You have like 18 bench warrants for not showing up to jury duty." But his whole thing is they can't prove I got it in the mail, so fuck them. And then I just talked to a
But
buddy of
that's
mine
what
yesterday.
everybody says. Yeah.
I don't think it would work because it'd be like, because if everybody says that, you think the postal service just doesn't deliver anybody's mail ever?
I think if you miss like, okay, I would say 18 is a lot. If you did like 1 or 2, like yeah, like shit does happen with the mail. But if it's like years worth and you're
It's
at the
his whole
same
life.
residence
It's
and you
his whole
haven't moved, then
Surprised they don't send it certified mail where you have to sign for it.
You would think so.
But then everybody would just, it wasn't home.
Give it to me. I'll take everybody in fucking South Carolina. I'll take everybody in this state's jury duty. Send it to me. I would love to do that.
It's fun. It's a fun idea. Now that I'm older, I will go. If they call me and on the 18th, I'll go and I'll take it seriously. It's just every time I've gone, I was 20s. I was on drugs. I was younger. So when I talk about the guy who like beat up his wife nowadays, yeah, I'd hear that out and I'd say, yeah, this motherfucker's guilty. But back then, dude, oh my God, you couldn't bother me to give a fuck at that age. You couldn't bother me to give a fuck about like, anything at that age. I was just a douchebag. But yeah, no, I get it now. I still think it should be handled a little differently, but I get the idea of it. I don't know. I hope I get I don't want to say, I hate to say like an interesting or a decent case, but yeah, I hope I get like Ted Bundy part 2 or I obviously I want
How
like Ted
cool would
Bundy
that
part
be?
2.
That would be awesome.
They're like,
You see
yeah,
Drug
we had
Sisters and Rob.
we had to move Brian Koberger's case over to California. Like,
But is it for your town or is it for Sacramento?
it's
Because-
it's in my town. I have a courthouse.
Okay. So
pretty
like
much down the
what
street.
kind of crime is going on where you live? I feel like it would be like Twin Peaks.
It's going to be like a homeless guy who brought meth into a 7-Eleven. I guarantee it. And I'm going to take one look at the guy and I'm going to go, this guy's clearly guilty. Why are we all here?
That's
funny.
true.
Oh, man.
All right. So what's next on the docket?
Well, I have a list. I mentioned all these to Mark earlier. We have Ozzy Osbourne's guitarist. One of his old guitarists got shot in Las Vegas.
I have a topic I wanted to ask that we had discussed because I had mentioned about how I went to the Menendez home and that there were all these influencers there and like some guy was looking through the mail and then you made a comment saying how what did you say about how like influencers feel like victims owe them?
In Terrifier 3, there is a true crime podcaster, which is kind of becoming a little trope in horror movies since like Halloween 2018. It's a trope that I like. I think it's funny when you watch these horror movies and some hot blonde girl rolls up and she's like, I do a true crime podcast. And I was wondering so in the movie, full spoilers by those, damn, sorry, everybody, spoilers. There's a true crime podcaster in Terrifier 3 and she meets Sienna and Jonathan and she wants to get them on her show. And Sienna goes on this kind of freak out where she's like, just 5 years ago, my whole family my mom was murdered and all my friends were murdered by this fucking psycho. And you're on here asking me to come on your true crime show because you want to know how I'm coping and how I get ready for the day. And can you be a fucking human for a fucking second? And then Jonathan is watching an episode of the podcast. And there's the podcaster and she has a guest on and the guest is going on about, I think Sienna is obviously the prime suspect. She made all these murders, which Sienna is his sister. So he's watching a podcast which then made me think I must be the worst guy of all time because I'm talking about how Ted Bundy's got great pickup game. So, but it is a thing. It is honestly a thing that you've got to think about that there are like, family members of these people out there and they see these podcasts and shit. And it's, I mean, you can even get more lighthearted with it and think like Dave Grohl's daughters are on social media and they're probably seeing all the Dave Grohl memes now about Dave Grohl cheating on his mom, which they might have seen it on Tommy Lee's Instagram with our post, by the way. Shameless plug. Tommy Lee is good friends with the show now. We'll be having him on next week. But yeah, so there is kind of a theme. And it's funny because a lot of true crime podcasts, they kind of overkill, I notice nowadays, where they try to course correct, where they do this whole, they all like to do we want to pay respect to the victim. So they do like an hour talking about how, Sarah Sarah Smith, she used to light up, there's the joke about how all the victims used to light up the rooms when they walked in, and it's like, dude, I would be pissed if like my little sister was missing and then I listened to some podcast and they were talking about my sister like they knew her. Like they're like, oh yeah, she went to dance class 4 days a week. I'd be like, you don't know her. Like get on with the shit and get the, so I think it's weird. There's kind of a balance that you honestly can't really walk right. I don't like that when they spend an hour talking about the victim. It's like, you don't know this person. You've never met this person. For all you know, they were the most miserable motherfucker in the world. You're saying, oh, they lit up the room when they walked in. If someone ever said that about me, I'd personally come up from hell to tell them, no, that's not true. I purposely dragged down everybody in the room when I walked in.
That's what happened during the Dahmer case. So like a lot of the sisters of, because obviously it was predominantly male guys that he killed. Well, I'm pretty sure it was all males, but all the sisters of these like guys that their brothers passed away. They're like, you guys are talking like you'd even know a fraction of what his life was like. Like, don't insult us like that. And there's a girl that I don't know if you've seen. Well, you've seen the Netflix thing, Annie. That girl that jumps up out of court and freaks the fuck out. Like she was one of those that said the same thing. So I agree with Rob like wholeheartedly. Like you think you know these people, but you have no idea. Yeah, you want to say nice things about them, but let their family say it. The people that knew them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, yeah, today they had the press conference with the Menendez family.
The shit's everywhere.
They have a lot of family. There were like over 20 members of the family that came to speak on their behalf. And it was funny that they said that everybody in the family is for the boys to get out, except one uncle is like, he wasn't having it. He's like, no, they did it. Like boys can't be raped. Like it's just not possible.
Fuck that guy, dude.
Out of like the entire family, it's just the one uncle that's just like, you're all wrong. Like all
he probably
you were wrong.
He probably molested them too.
I was gonna say he was probably in on it.
Like who defends that?
Yeah, no, it's only one family member, so I don't know, but they no, the whole family was like up in arms. And I guess they had like a meeting after the press conference with the DA, and there was some kind of law that the lawyer was talking about where like the family can go to the DA and use this law to like express how they feel about wanting to get their family member out of prison. And so I don't know, it looks like they're probably going to get out next month. We'll see.
I guess just based on what I've heard, it sounds like it's a good thing that they're going to get out, but I do have a problem with like Netflix shows becoming like make or break things in like legal situations. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying this is what's happening, but like I would hope the legal system is not just using a fucking Netflix biopic as their evidence for why they're going to let two people out on the streets.
No. So, I mean, I think because of the Netflix show, people learned about them, because I think a lot of the people that are upset are the younger generation that weren't even born when it happened. And so, people have been calling the DA's office to express their anger. And so they're like, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
But I think that is a direct result from
of course
Netflix
it is, because there's no way to deny it. And like I said, it's probably a good thing, but overall it's weird. I don't like the trend of like, oh, Netflix makes a biopic, so now we let people out onto the street from prison. Like, I hope there's good reason to actually let them out. Just because the DA got a bunch of calls, like.
Yeah. Well, that is actually what's happening. So, I mean,
my thing is like, sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off, by the way. It's so hard with three people. Okay. No, I'll let you go. Sorry. Go
I wasn't really going to say much. I was just going to say, people have been calling the DA's office, and we'll see what happens.
What I was going to say was just like the fact that like we know that it's facts that they experienced like sexual abuse, like from anybody. I mean, your parents, like the worst case, you should be able to defend yourself. Now, I know it wasn't defending themselves per se, but it's like, okay, you try going through that and see how that fucks your mind up. You know what I mean? Like, this wasn't like they went to a 7-Eleven and they wanted money and they shot a guy. No, this is like, okay, their fucking family was like fucking with them mentally, physically, and it's like this is what happened. Like I think we need to just fucking get over it and let them go.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that think about this. There's people that have done way worse shit that they have let go. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's bananas to me. It shit's all over the news. It's everywhere. It's funny because I thought you were just obsessed with it, but no, it's like it's everywhere.
It's
dude.
everywhere. My
it's every
entire
breaking news thing.
Instagram is just like Menendez.
Yeah, I
it's
still gotta
all
watch. I'm
that.
still like a piece of
like-
shit. I gotta watch because I love true crime stuff. This is right up my alley, and I'm like Rob. Like it takes me a while to watch stuff. You know what I mean? Like you recommend it.
Yeah.
I know it's good.
For me, it's too big now. I'll never watch it now because it's too many people. Because when people start dressing up like them and making fan pages, I'm like, okay, I'm out.
No,
people are gonna
it's
dress them as Halloween. for
it's
Halloween.
just
Oh,
really
yeah.
weird. It's weird going on Instagram because it's like so prevalent in LA right now. Like you can't escape it, which is why I'm like, okay, what's going on with it? But it's like I go on Instagram and then I showed you guys, it's like all of these like young kids are making fan pages over it. And that's weird. Like it's weird seeing like, like the profile I sent you yesterday, it was like Eric and Lyle Menendez with like a heart, and then it was like
That's weird.
I am 17 years old. Like that's weird.
You want to know some real fucked up shit? There's fan pages for the Columbine boys. There's a lot of internet.
I've seen that.
There's a lot of like girls that are in
Eric and Dylan. Yeah, I've seen that
What?
shit, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls.
No
a lot of
joke.
girls.
Oh,
And it's
that's
edits,
so
and it
funny.
like Rob said, it's edits like rap music behind it, or like where it's like
What?
or like some kind of music, like it'll be like Creed in the background and like zoom motion of them, and I'm like, why
Wait,
are
but
how
aren't
could
they
you
like
do-
old now?
they're
they-
dead?
They're okay. I didn't.
I was gonna
know.
say, are you
But-
serious?
I don't know. Yeah, I
No, but like they're the biggest pieces of shit on planet Earth.
Yeah, there's
And
no
what-
redeeming qualities about them. Like it's
and
not.
why
they were
are
not,
you that's the sick part about the internet, dude. It's like it creates these weird fantasies with people, man.
Yeah,
So
they
there's
were
an-
not. They were not.
Proto
Like,
Max, that's weird as hell.
they were
there's
not.
an-
They were not fucked with by their parents. They were not they were not victims of anything. There was no redeeming qualities to them.
Came from great, dude. Their parents were the I think
Their
it
parents were good parents by all
was,
accounts.
and super smart. Like I think it was Dylan Klebold's family, dude. They were like fucking geniuses, dude.
Edits. I love that.
Dude,
They
there's
were, like,
there's fan
geniuses.
edits where they use the footage, the security cam footage of the famous like almost like night vision looking footage of them walking through the school. Like there's
Wait,
all
but-
yeah.
There's that many photos of them to make a fan page. I don't even know what they look
Yeah,
like.
yeah. So there was
there's a
a
lot.
video where if you look it up, there's a video of them practicing before they do it in the
Oh
woods.
wow, look at these guys. These guys aren't worth a fan page.
They were on the internet back before anybody was. So there's a lot of stuff about them that if you dig, you can find. They
They're
were
total dirtbags. The fact that anybody's defending
That's
it, but like
insane.
then they came from their parents were like super wealthy. Like they both made like each family's parents made like six figures. Like they lived in like mini mansions and shit. Like
That's
and,
crazy.
and they're all like, "Oh, I hate my life." Like, no, dude, you had
Yeah.
no reason to do this. These poor innocent fucking people.
They're
and this is before
one of their moms wrote a book, and it sounds kind of like a really gray
like
situation.
if my son did it, like
No, she basically wrote a book about pretty much defending her son, but it's like a mother who doesn't want to believe that, like I don't want to say delusional, but my mom honestly might do something if I
he
did
means
that.
well.
Exactly. Like I said, my mom might, I don't know. My mom's also very black and white. She might be straight up about it. But if I did that, I could possibly see her being like, "Oh, well, you guys didn't treat him right," or something. Like
not my robber.
exactly. But at the same time, I don't know. My mom very well also could be one of those guys that's like, "Well, fuck him. I don't know him anymore." Like, not to shoot actually say that, but she would be like, yeah, he was a douchebag. But
I think the mom wanted a fucking payday personally, because I know what you're talking about. I forget which one, Dylan or Eric or whatever, but like she came out, she was like, my first time speaking in 20 years. What, your fucking money run dry? Like the fact that she's defending her son is fucking weird. The fact that she came 20 years later is weird. The fact that anybody's praising these douchebags is weird because they
Wait, hold on. We got to change the title real quick to like Columbine fan edits or something.
no, I wouldn't put that. I wouldn't put that.
I would never put Columbine in the title.
but yeah, like I don't know if you know, Annie, like about the whole thing that went down there. Like that was like the first major school shooting like in the country.
Yeah,
And
I saw the documentary, but it was like years ago, so I don't know the details anymore.
There were a few before in years, but this was the first big one that like gripped the nation. They said.
Yeah, they like weren't like they were like ruthless. Like they had like a girl in front of them, and they're like, "Come on, beg for your life" and shit. Like made her like cry first, then fucking shot her in the leg, let her squirm away, and then like, dude, there's like it's evil shit they did.
They were also very bad at their jobs. Their bombs all misfired. Their it sounds terrible. Their body count was nowhere near as high as you would expect for a situation where they had the artillery they had in a school. They were very bad, which is a good thing. They're very bad at their jobs. And then the motive is just that they were fucking nerds. Grimrock, I'm glad you're here.
What's up,
dude, you got to check out the decoration. Like, it was postponed to the 30th, so I'm not playing the 30th. Okay, so you got like a damn near 3-day tour going on. That's going to be badass. I saw my shirt. Yeah, hell yeah, I got it up there. Dude, all that shit you sent was cool. You definitely have a good like merch package going on. One thing I was going to say, obviously none of these conspiracy theories are true, but they're very interesting. But have you heard that there's a bunch of Columbine conspiracy theories where they think there were more shooters and they think there was like other people involved? And
that's retarded.
There were shooters on the roof, and it's all very interesting. There's a YouTube channel that I really like. I try to avoid saying YouTube channel names, but this one, they're like just so out there enough that I don't care. It's called Mind Shock, like shocking your mind. And they talk about they basically will talk about anything. If there's a comment on a subreddit with 2 upvotes that says Chris Watts was Jesus returned and his wife was the devil, they will talk about this conspiracy theory. So it obviously gets into really interesting stuff. They talk about the Maura Murray case. They talk about Columbine, like all the cases that are interesting. The Ketty Cabin murders. That's one of my favorites that we got to talk about for sure. I'm sure Mark hasn't heard of that one because every time I bring up a case, he's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, the Ketty Cabin murders. One of the most interesting cases of all time. Yeah, the Columbine guys were basically incels.
What does that mean?
1999, they were nerds. Girls didn't like them.
Yeah, but what was the motive again? Like, just they were fucking nerds. Like they wore trench coats and shit, right?
There's also, it's funny because the motive is typically seen as like they were nerds. Nobody liked them. They got bullied. But there's also been some accounts of people that were like
cool with them.
They were kind of outcasts, but people were nice to them. Like not everybody was they weren't bullied terribly. Like
they killed their own friend. So supposedly there was people that actually like were friends with them, and they killed them too. They fucking killed them right there. Like they were like, he's like, dude, we're friends. Bam, like you're a piece of shit. Like what anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no. So the motivation is honestly just that they were just honestly, they were edgelords. They wore black trench coats. They had that trench coat mafia thing where they had like a gang at school where they all wore trench coats and had.
That's how the dad knew. That's how the dad, when he heard something about like the trench coat thing, the father of one of the shooters called in and was like, "Dude, the trench coat thing sounds like my son," and it was.
Bro, if I ever start wearing a trench coat, I know we talked about this before. If I ever start wearing a trench coat, you guys, I need you to come to my house and Columbine my ass instantly.
So I don't know if you've ever heard the thing about the dude that got paralyzed during that. It's very interesting. So dude that was, in high school at the time has a dream, a full-fledged dream the night before the shooting that he was going to get paralyzed, right? Next day, gets shot, bullet hits the spinal cord, motherfucker gets paralyzed. He speaks at schools and shit about like people that have like can channel their dreams and shit. Like how Abe Lincoln like had a dream he was going to get assassinated and it happened. Like I think that's so fucking crazy that went down there. Like this dude thought, like, yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's interesting.
I have dreams where my ex-girlfriend calls me like every night, and that's what's fucking. Where's this? Where's this? Why is
Rob's like,
here's your friend. Right?
Dirty white boy, what's up?
Yeah, I was talking about it. I said if you checked in late, he already wants to know. Where's the porn star shirt? So hold on, Dirty white boy. So Grimrock in the chat is one of our buddies. He sent me the shirt. So shit, actually, this goes for anybody. If anybody has a shirt they want to fucking put on the back, if you send me a shirt, I'll put it up there. We were just repping Grimrock's shirt. He sent me one for free. Yeah, I'd only mentioned you earlier because I was gonna we showed it earlier, but I know you've already seen it. We showed the fucking Tommy Lee video. I won't play it now, but yeah, that was our big flex for today. But yeah, the porn star shirt will be back up for a while. We're doing the Grimrock shirt, and then I'm sure nobody else will send us a shirt because we don't have anyone else that watches that has shirts. So we'll go back to Cali Roses after Grimrock.
Do you remember that story years ago about the mass shooter that it was like the movie theater one for like the Batman movie? Or
Yeah, that
what
nerd
was
Yeah,
with the red hair.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that one always stood out to me. I don't
Something
know.
Holmes. I think the last name was
Yeah,
Holmes.
I think that one out of like all of them is the one that is like that locked in. Like that was like, oh
So
fuck.
when that happened, right? So that happened like it was Dark Knight, right?
Yeah, it was
Or
like
Yeah,
something.
2012,
yeah.
I
It was
think.
So
like
when
it was
the,
like the premiere.
when the new Joker came out, I went to see it in theaters and I made sure to put a screwdriver in my pocket because I was like, yo, I know, like, God forbid some shit went down. At least I have this, like, this item to defend myself. Yeah, isn't that fucking crazy? Because, like, having a screwdriver isn't illegal. Like, I was working.
Yeah,
on
but like,
something.
what were you planning to do with that? If
No,
someone,
no,
like,
no,
waved a
no.
gun at you.
I don't know, crawled and stuck it in his foot underneath. I've watched too many movies, like crawled underneath the seats and was like, ah, you know, it was like, ah! But like, I was so paranoid. I was like, God forbid something ever happened like that.
Dude, whenever
Yeah.
we just because of this, really quick, whenever we do get enough like followers that will like one of my dreams has always been to have a social media persona where people like do things that you say. So like Danny Mullen back in the day, if he would have posted something that was like, I've got beef with this comedian, like thousands of kids would have flooded this comedian's inbox talking shit to him on behalf of Danny Mullen. I've always wanted a base of people like that. If we ever get that, we have to, like I said, we have to launch a campaign where so many people harass Tommy Lee that he ends up coming on the stream and is like, yeah, you posted this guy's shit. Now you owe him, right? Tommy Lee owes us. He owes us an
dude.
episode.
We
Because
gave him his 15 minutes of fame, dude.
Yeah,
you
if
know?
it wasn't for us, Tommy Lee would be nothing. He would be irrelevant. He would have been forgotten about. But we're here keeping this thing alive with 149 subscribers.
We just need Vince Meal to share our thing next.
But
We talk
dude,
about food.
The Aurora shooting thing, I think that's just sticks because like everybody goes to see. I mean, I know everybody goes to high school too, but we were pretty young for that. I was
But-
6.
But it's like that picture of him. What did he have? Like dyed, like pink hair, pink orange hair.
Yeah, like pink and like
That's
his
what I
mugshot. He
remember
was like his
about
eyes
it.
were like fucking
Yeah.
huge. Like
No, I remember that as like a kid and being like, oh god,
Yeah.
that's very.
He's a guy that you could probably beat up like easily.
that's a horrific situation to even think about. Like you're enjoying a movie, you're relaxing, and like this dude goes off and it's dark. You don't fucking see anything.
I mean, like because of that, every time I go to the theaters, I'm like, I'm gonna sit near the exit.
Yeah,
So
well,
I can like bolt. Like
that's
I'm
why I
still
had the
thinking about
screwdriver.
that, like
Dude.
20 years later.
Imagine how annoying it would be if like you're watching Batman and like some shooting starts and you like duck down behind the seats, but like you hear Batman, like there's Batman, the audio is still playing loudly, and you're like, bro, turn this shit off, please.
Save me. Get under the seat. Fuck
Vince
Vince Neil,
Neil?
man. Give me
Give me
Vince
Vince McMahon. Dude, Vince McMahon as the singer of Motley Crue would probably be the greatest thing of all time.
You know who also aged terribly? David Lee Roth.
Yeah. Do
All
you see
the-
his Instagram videos? He like dances.
Most
against
of the
the
80s
background.
guys.
He's a cornball, dude. I love Van Halen. I absolutely love Van Halen, but he's such a cornball.
Well, I
Like,
think David Lee Roth has always been slightly out of his mind. So just as you get older, that gets more
yeah,
and
he's
more.
cocky. He's arrogant. And he's cocky. I hate
And-
arrogant,
and-
cocky
and
people.
in his 20s, it worked for him, but now it's like, okay, you're an old guy with
Right.
a buzz cut. It's it's not
Right.
the same.
With the
Like,
buzz
dude,
cut.
like like the fucking flying, bicycle kicks and shit. Like that was cool, dude. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he did like martial arts. Like my dad said, like one of the best concerts he ever been to was a Van Halen concert in Texas. Like he
Dude,
said they were awesome.
Fucking Diamond Dave. That reminds me of the songs of Vince. Yeah, when Vince did
Yeah,
I think it was Stand Back. Was it Stand Back? No, I don't remember what song it was, but yeah, Vince,
Vince Neil's horrible now, man. I
No,
love
no,
the videos of him
we're sa-
singing.
no, we're saying Vince McMahon.
Oh,
The real
you and the
Vince.
fucking wrestling.
Vince McMahon Vince McMahon could easily beat Vince Neil in a fight, and it's not even close.
And he could fucking beat up Vince Neil. in a
Vince
fight.
Neil in the 80s, I think,
Isn't
was
he
actually
short? He's
short.
small, right? Yeah.
I
Short
think in
and
the
fat.
80s he was more badass. Like, I wouldn't fuck with Vince Neil in the 80s. I believe, just from what I've like seen and heard, that Vince Neil probably could hold his own in the 80s, but today, obviously not.
Dude, he looks like a fucking school bus driver, a woman school bus driver. Like
Oh,
he's
shit.
so fat. Like
This kind of changes my opinion a little bit on David Lee Roth. Went to live in
We-
Japan to learn sword fighting.
that doesn't surprise me because I've read he was big into martial arts. That was the whole thing. That was his whole thing.
So David Lee Roth versus Vince McMahon might actually be the fight we should pay to see. A wild dude, and after fame in the late 90s, he was an ambulance guy. No joke. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, David Lee Roth, he's an interesting guy, like no matter what.
So
Vince
huge
McMahon is
guy.
the strongest 80-year-old on the planet, no doubt. Yeah. Strong in physical strength and strong in will and grit and determination. That is for sure.
You got to look up this guy on Instagram. His name is Mike Birch. He's from upstate New York. He's a power lifter. He's like 80. I would put him up against Vince McMahon, dude. He's pretty fucking jacked, 80-year-old.
Mike,
Did
Birch.
you guys ever watch Metalocalypse?
I did a little bit, not too much.
No.
Yeah, this guy's huge and covered in tattoos.
Yeah, dude, he's badass.
There's a character I feel like is loosely based off of David Lee Roth. You guys have never seen that?
What is
show?
it called?
Metalocalypse.
No.
I never watched it enough to catch any David Lee Roth on there.
So it's an Adult Swim show made by, who does it? It's
Death Clock.
yeah, Death Clock. But who conducts the band? What's his name?
I don't know.
No,
I thought the band was just Death Clock.
No, that is the band, but they're Brendan Small is the creator of the show and he creates the music. But like each of the guys in the band, it's about like a metal band that tours the world. And like every member is loosely based off of a real guy. I think the lead singer is kind of based off of Peter Steele, but there's a character in the show called Dr. Roxo, and it's this like rock and roll clown. And I think he's like loosely based off of David Lee Roth, and like he's like dressed as a clown in like a spandex onesuit with like a big V cut down the chest. And he has like a clown face and hair on, but all he does in the show is do cocaine. That's it. That's all he wants to do, and that's all he likes to do.
As it should be.
And he plays rock and roll. Yeah.
As it should be. Dude,
Pretty accurate.
speaking of rock stars in the 80s, I guess back to Motley Crue. I can't remember who I talked about this to with. I think I was talking about it to my group of friends that are into like rock and roll music. And I learned about this a long time ago, but it's the worst thing I've ever read. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which by the way is total bullshit. They put in like rappers and pop stars. They will not induct Motley Crue, and their reason is the way they treated women in the 80s, as if
First off,
as if the way Motley Crue treated women in the 80s is not what rock and roll used to be. Like
you're talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're
Yeah.
the biggest bunch of fucking two-faced,
pussies.
hypocritical jerk-offs. Okay, but you'll take rap groups that talk about beating women and fucking robbing stores and shit.
And not only that,
First off, why are rap groups in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Dude, go look up Trent Reznor's view on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He bashes them so hard.
and not only that, but it's like, dude, Motley Crue is not the only band. Like, isn't Led Zeppelin in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I love Led Zeppelin, but
course.
let's all be real. We all know about Led Zeppelin and their fadoodles with some underage girls. You know, it's not. Yeah, but
Something
yeah, no,
involving a fish. I heard about that. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah.
no.
There was like, yeah, you heard about that? Like they
Wait.
supposedly had like
Wasn't
It
it,
was
a
like-
shark?
some kind of fish, like, and they were like having an orgy and like stuck
Yeah,
it up a
yeah.
girl's
They
pussy,
fucked
like-
they fucked the girl with the I think it was a
yeah,
shark.
yeah, weird shit, dude.
If David Lee Roth was taking my blood pressure in the back of an ambulance, it would probably make my blood pressure rise. Like it would probably be more harmful than good. But yeah, no, I can't stand the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's pretty much, dude, Motley Crue. The worst story I've ever heard about Motley Crue, and I think this is one that actually came up for a short time when the Dirt movie came out. Another story came up, and it was, I can't remember which member it was first and then which member it was second, but I think it was like Nikki Sixx was banging a girl backstage, and then Tommy Lee, and he was doing her from behind so she can't see, and then Tommy Lee, they switched out without telling her. So they were like, that's
She
great.
knew when Tommy Lee fucking.
Well,
put
the
his dick
thing
in her.
is, and the thing is, like, dude, if you're a girl and you go backstage for Motley Crue in the 80s, like, I'm sorry, you know what time it is. You know why you know why you're going. See, this is the thing. I think girls in the 80s, I think 80s women are like some of the ultimate feminists because these are girls that like people love to be like, oh, these girls were taken advantage of. No, these girls were whores and they fucking loved it. Like that's what they were doing. That was the game, was get backstage and fuck guys in bands. Like that's, you want to talk about girls like owning their sexuality, but then you want to talk about how the 80s groupies were taken advantage. Well, which one is it? Like it's there. You know why you're going backstage when you see Led Zeppelin. You know why you're going backstage when you see Motley Crue. You know why you're going backstage. It's stupid. It's
all I'm gonna say is you don't go to backstage to a rock concert to play Scrabble with
Nikki Sixx.
Nikki Sixx. Like it's just not gonna happen. Like I mean anything. I'm not gonna comment on that situation. I don't know the details, but like same thing with like the girls that like said they got beat up by Mike Tyson and all this shit. Like you're going to do coke with Mike Tyson at 3 a.m. in a fucking hotel suite. Like, what did you think he was gonna like whisper sweet nothings in your ear? I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not for any kind of fucking assault, but like,
but even as a man, I would not do cocaine with Mike Tyson at 3 a.m. in a hotel room.
Yeah. So you gonna show me a dick, Rob?
Oh God. That's first edition of the book in the dirt. I totally got backlash, and they reprint. Yeah, totally got backlash. They reprinted about that mentioned in that book, but Nikki Sixx himself let that one out. Yeah, it's you can say what you want about it. I like to think, I've never been a girl, so I don't know, but I like to think you'd be able to feel the difference in dick. I'm not sure how that works.
I mean, Tommy Lee's got a famous penis, dude.
Yeah, wouldn't you think Tommy Lee's would be way bigger than
Nikki Sixx? I will say that's fucked up, though. That's fucked up. If they did it without the girl knowing, that is pretty fucked up.
They had to just, they had to do the sound guy to get backstage, which means you know why you're doing the sound guy. Like, if they say you have to do this guy, it's just, they knew what they were doing. They were having a great time. Let them, I'm pretty sure all the famous groupies of the 80s loved their times and like talk kind of fondly about it. I'm sure there are those that came out on the internet and tried to get some internet clout by saying like, oh, I was taken advantage of. And
wait, but can't you say that also about the groupies in the 60s and the 70s?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like, do you know of Pamela DeBar?
I've heard the name. I know there's a documentary that I've seen about the famous
old Texas switch.
So Pamela is like the groupie of all groupies from the 60s and 70s and 80s. Like she has had sex with every major rock star you could think of, from like Jim Morrison to like Jimmy Page and like Mick Jagger. And
what's her name?
Pamela DeBar, DeBarres. Funny enough, she actually like lives near me, and my uncle photographed her wedding back in the 80s, and so it's like it's interesting.
Oh, there's pictures of her naked.
Really quick, Mark. Yeah, okay, found. I was gonna say
with Robert Plant, she's got her tits out. Yeah, it's wild.
When she was younger, she lived in Laurel Canyon at Frank Zappa's house, and I think she she babysat his kid or something like that. I don't know. She was living there anyways. And then she started this all girl band that he produced. Their next door neighbor was Jim Morrison, and Jim was basically cheating on his Pam with this Pam. And she has a whole book, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, she's a whore,
it's interesting that like she has based her entire life off of these experiences. And now I don't know how old she's got to be in like her 70s, almost 80s. And she's still like promoting her books and stuff like that.
So did you see
unless they were underage, I don't want to hear it. Like if it was a 15-year-old, then sure, I can understand that you might have been influenced and taken advantage of. But if you were like 18 or older, you knew what you were doing. Sorry, like it's unless.
But I mean, she discusses like the other groupies that she was with, and like a lot of the girls that she was hanging out with Led Zeppelin were like 14 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Led Zeppelin had their thing for. Yeah, Led Zeppelin had their thing for underage girls. Jimmy Page, I think specifically.
But you know who actually got it on is Cassandra Peterson, Elvira. She
got it on.
She was underage when that shit happened. I read that shit about her. She was hooking
up with, I think she might have hooked up with Elvis, and she did hook up a couple of times with Jimi Hendrix.
She was underage when all this shit happened. She wrote a book about it, and I remember reading like an excerpt out of it. Like she said that she was totally taken advantage of as a young chick. I'm segueing into, did you know that Jimi Hendrix has like a really shitty sex tape, and apparently
What?
the right. I've never seen it, but the rights to it are owned by the two women that are in the tape. Somehow they took like his producers to court, and they won the rights to this. And these two women, like, this is their like. This is what they make money off of. Like, first off, who the fuck wants to see like some grainy, some grainy 60s video? But like these, if you type it in, dude, there's a website, like you got to like pay for it. And I guess people just out of the peak of curiosity do it.
Wait, how
And,
much is it?
I don't know. Let me pull it up.
I know we'll never see them, but I want to see those gay Charles Manson sex tapes. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I didn't even know that was the thing.
Everybody in the 60s was apparently doing that shit. Like almost all the actors and famous people in the 60s you could think of, they were doing, because it was free love, man. They all had fancy cameras because they were all rich. They were all doing weird sex stuff, and nobody heard about it.
There's a way to buy it, but like I forget what they wanted, and I was just like,
I probably don't want to see Jimi Hendrix's wiener.
Right. Me either. I'm just saying. But segueing from Jimi Hendrix's dick to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So this year, even though I can't stand the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I still watch it because I love music and I still want to see like what's going on. But like, so how do you feel about this year? Apparently in October, which now this month, they're having the 2024 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and people are all butthurt because apparently Ozzy is an inductee, and they're like, oh, well, he's already in it because of Black Sabbath. And I'm like, dude, yeah, okay, cool. He deserves to be in there twice because, dude, his solo career was so vastly different.
Yeah, let him in twice. Yeah.
Fucking A, dude. He's like one of the best.
It's two different acts.
Exactly. And they're so upset. I'm like, you should be more upset that Eminem is a fucking. Why is rap in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Was it like Missy Elliott? Someone got in last year that it was like completely.
They're doing it because of the diversity bullshit. And it's like, it doesn't belong there. Like, it has nothing to do with rock and roll, dude.
Yeah. No, it's Ozzy, let him in twice, dude. Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne.
Dude, his solo career was fucking phenomenal, dude.
Lots of stories about Kiss doing everything and everyone. I remember one of my favorite Gene Simmons stories is
yeah, dude, for sure.
Yeah, Ozzy should get voted in every year just because he's fucking Ozzy Osbourne.
Man, I love Black Sabbath, but his solo career is so different. Apples and oranges, dude.
There's the Gene Simmons story where he swallows the fire on accident. He swallows it's like, I don't remember what it was, but it's like a VH1 documentary where he's like, yeah, he did something. I think it was like he swallowed the gas that he uses to blow out the fire. And he was like, yeah, so I went to the doctor and everybody was like, well, how'd it go? And I was like, well, I did the nurse and then I did the doctor too. And then they gave me my medication and I went on something funny like that. He's just,
it's amazing. He doesn't have a major disease. Gene Simmons
probably did at one point and just was able to take care of it.
He got fingered by the doctor twice.
Gene Menendez.
Yeah. Mark Menendez.
Yeah, dude, it was
so funny.
There's no more cool guys making rock.
Yeah, fuck anymore. That, dude. Like, and for the longest time, like real, like, so they will only do mainstream artists, right? Like, they won't take like Todd Rundgren, like the deep cuts, like who else? Lou Reed, like those artists, like that were like they weren't on the radio 24/7. Like, that doesn't mean that they weren't just as good as other artists, dude. They just weren't fucking mainstream. Like, go listen to fucking Transformer by Lou Reed. It's like one of the best albums of all time. Like, and it's not a popular, mainstream album.
Yeah. It's that whole organization is bullshit. I will say one of my favorite moments is when Nirvana got in. I think it was when Courtney Love was up there and she hugged Dave Grohl. I like Courtney Love. I'm always the one guy in the group. I like Courtney Love.
I can't fucking stand her, and I can't believe you said Hole is one of the best bands ever.
Hole is one of the best bands of all time.
When I saw that, I literally was clenching my fist under the computer. I was like,
dude, so look, here's the thing. Here's the thing that you have to give Courtney Love, no matter what. Courtney Love, as a young girl, said, when I grow up, I'm going to become a rock star. You know what I said when I was a young kid? I'm going to become a rock star. You know what I am today? A fucking loser with 149 subscribers on a YouTube channel. You know what Courtney Love is? One of the biggest rock stars of all time. Like, you got to give her that.
Doesn't mean she's still not a fucking shitbag.
Yeah, of course.
We
just talked about how Led Zeppelin banged 14-year-old girls. They're also shitbags. We get yes,
right.
It's perfect for her.
I don't know. I'll pick Robert Plant over fucking Courtney Love any day of the week.
Dude, Courtney Love like went to Japan at the age of like 15 to become a stripper, and like everyone's always like, oh, she was a groupie. She used her body to get herself into places, and it's like, congratulations, she did what the fuck she had to do to get to where she needed to be. Like she was not afraid to put in some get some elbow grease going to make her shit happen. I don't know. I think it's better than people give it credit for. Of course, she's a dirtbag. She's a fucking junkie. Like, who's not a dirtbag when they're a junkie? Kurt Cobain was also a dirtbag, but people just kind of like to look at him through rose-colored glasses. Kurt Cobain was an asshole. Kurt Cobain was a total fucking asshole. I love Kurt Cobain. Yeah.
I can't stand him or Nirvana, to be honest. But like I said, that being said, I can still appreciate the fact that like
I'm gonna click you right the fuck off the street.
I've said it before.
I know.
I can't stand Nirvana, but their Unplugged was one of the best performances ever of all time ever. And I could say that and be open minded. You know what I mean? Like I could appreciate people for like being good musicians and still just not like their shit. I think he was a whiny little bitch, ungrateful for everything he fucking had. Yeah, it's just like, I hate my life. I'm not happy. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Kurt Cobain is like one of the few guys that like, oh, I get like sensitive. Dude, there was
I'm clicking you out right now.
Dirty White Boy, an old buddy of ours back in the day in a garage. We were hanging out, and he made a joke about Kurt Cobain. It was like that very typical joke. It's something about like what color were his eyes, blue or something, because they blew apart. I remember he said that, and I was like, tried to laugh, and I was like, I'm actually really upset by that, man. Like, I don't want to hear about Kurt Cobain die. And then I also remember, I think I've told this one before. Calamity Jane, we went to Disneyland back in the day, and on our way home from Disneyland, we stopped at the Museum of Death in Hollywood. Really cool museum. Everyone should check it out. And while we were there, and this was years ago, we were talking to, I don't know if it was the owner or just somebody that worked there, but he was saying during that time, they were currently in an auction to potentially buy the clothes that Kurt Cobain was wearing when he died. So, of course, they're all covered in his blood. And as soon as that guy said that, I kind of shut down and was like, what the? I don't know what happened. I just kind of shut down. And Calamity Jane was just talking to him. And we finally got back to the car, and Calamity Jane was like, wouldn't that be cool? We could come back when they get Kurt's clothes. And I was like, no, I don't want to see that. I don't think I want to see Kurt Cobain's blood on his clothes. Like, we're going. I'm not coming back here. Like,
so what about like him? Like it makes you like such a super fan because like
I don't know.
I can relate it to an instance of a friend who was this obsessed with, or maybe you're not obsessed, but was obsessed. Okay, so he was just as obsessed or more with David Bowie. Like when David Bowie died, he's like, you got to come over, dude. I'm like, what? He was fucking hysterical, dude.
I can definitely vouch for the David Bowie stuff. Not that I felt like that, but like I have a number of friends that live in the UK, and I have a text saved on my phone. The day that David Bowie died, I texted one of my friends in England, and I was like, what's going on there? And she was like, Annie, this is a national disaster. This is terrible. Like in the UK, David Bowie is equivalent to the king.
So hold on. First off, I love David Bowie's music. Absolutely love it. But there's not one artist that I could say that I would be upset about, but there's not one celebrity or artist that I would cry about. Like, dude, like if a good artist dies, I write on Facebook, rest in peace, whoever, like they came out with great music. Thank you for your contribution, whatever. But like, you're going to cry over a celebrity that really could give a fuck less about you. Probably. That's strange.
Yeah. But I think like, people grow up with these people, in their music.
I get to them. See, you're taking it out of context. I grew up with music that like I was, emotionally attached with too. But I'm gonna cry about it like it's somebody I knew.
I've never cried over Kurt Cobain.
I love no, I'm not saying you did.
No,
I'm just saying I absolutely love Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. Like, when David Gilmour dies, am I going to be like throwing myself on the ground? No, I'm going to be like, oh man, that sucks. He was an awesome artist.
So like, the Kurt Cobain thing, I don't know. Kurt Cobain.
Honky Dory, yes.
Kurt Cobain just makes fucking sense to me.
Worst fucking album he had.
So first of all, I'm still just as obsessed with Kurt Cobain and Nirvana as I always was. But the problem was I spent 5 years getting into like Nirvana and Hole and L7 and Mudhoney with Calamity Jane. So to be honest, now that was kind of our thing. So now when I listen to them, it kind of bums me out. So it kind of sucks. That's why I joke that next time I find a girlfriend, I'm not sharing shit with her. I'm going to keep my own stuff because I don't want to lose this stuff because I've completely, yeah. So Kurt Cobain, I still remember exactly. It was funny. I was at band practice. I was 19 and I, of course, knew the Smells Like Teen Spirit riff on guitar, just because who doesn't if you play guitar? And so I kind of was just in between songs in the garage, fucking around and playing it. And then our drummer played the intro drums, and we played the intro and first verse of Smells Like Teen Spirit, just kind of dicking around. And myself at 19, drunk in the garage, was just like, oh yeah, bro, I fucking love Nirvana. And our drummer was like, yeah, dude, yeah, of course, dude, they're great. And then we literally just carried on with band practice, and that was it. For some odd reason, that day I got home and I was like, you know what? I need to quit talking shit because I never really listened to that much Nirvana in my fucking life. I was just talking like I knew stuff. So I was like, you know what? I need to actually like listen to some Nirvana songs and back up what I say for the first time in my life. And so I would have wanted to bang L7's drummer back. Yeah, L7 is badass. So I got on my laptop and I was like, fuck it, let's just look up some Nirvana videos. And I looked up Nirvana live. I don't remember what song or what video I clicked on, but it was a song or performance where Kurt destroys all the shit. And dude, I just watched it and was just like eyes wide, like just watching Kurt break guitars, and spent the entire night, stayed up all night on my laptop, just watching every like Nirvana performance I could find of Kurt breaking stuff, and was like, dude, I don't know, it just made sense to me. I broke a guitar at one of my shows. After that, I think I've broken 2 guitars. One was a Squire and one was a First Act because I couldn't afford Kurt Cobain guitars. But the thing that was cool about Kurt was that Kurt broke guitars when he couldn't afford them. It would kind of fuck over when they were small. It would fuck over Sub Pop. He'd like break all their shit, and Sub Pop would be like, "We don't have the money to replace this stuff. You're on tour in Europe. Like, what are we gonna do?" And Kurt's like, "Well, fuck if I know." But
don't get it twisted, man. I know that music is, directly tied into like your soul feelings, dude. There's songs I listen to, I'll fucking cry to. I get it, but I just don't think that I would. Maybe I would be upset like if they died and it was like a memory, like you said, but I wouldn't be like the way my friend was with David Bowie. Like I literally was like trying not to laugh because I'm like a good friend and I'm like, listen, man, like, it's gonna be cool. Everything's gonna be all right. Like, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't understand, the Great White Duke is dead, man. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you think David Bowie gave a fuck about you, or even if he met you would get like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking callous, dude. But like,
no, it's
I don't. You guys know I absolutely love music just as much as you both do. But like, it's like, what the fuck, dude?
It's true. I've never cried over a celebrity death. The true test for me will be whenever the day that Burt McCracken from The Used, whenever he dies, that'll be my test, because that's my favorite band of all time. It's like the band that I discovered in like 7th grade with my buddy, and it like changed our lives and all that. Like the reason I started dressing from Hot Topic, like that type of shit. But no, I'm not gonna fucking cry. I don't. Yeah,
right, exactly. Like, you get it. Like, dude, I wish I could have videoed it. Like, it was weird. He was like a drug user, and he's like, I gotta get a bag, man. I gotta get a fucking bag. I'm like, you gotta get a fucking bag. Like, fucking Bowie died. Like, I will say one thing though, which is very cool about David Bowie. Did you ever listen to his album that before he died? It basically was like Dark Star or whatever. It was basically like telling the story of like what's going to happen to him in his death, that he like kind of foreshadowed his death. It was weird. Like the songs are very interesting, and like they talk about like his death and like what was going to happen to him before he even knew it. But like,
Did he have cancer?
Yeah, but like it was weird. It's anyway, whatever. But like the fucking Great White Duke, man. And that guy, I used to live with him. He was actually my manager at a cigar shop I worked with. And like, dude, I'd be taking a shower and the power would just go off, and I'd be like, dude, what's going on? I didn't pay the rent, man. I'm like, dude, what do you mean? Like, I give you all this money for rent, and I got to fucking shower at the fucking gym because I can't see. I remember just walking in, and he'd be like surrounded by Coke with like candles lit. He's like, oh, I forgot to pay the rent again. I'm like, what the fuck? You got candles in here? Like, this is creepy as hell. But like,
that's awesome. I think the weirdest thing I ever did in terms of like one of those guys dying was Kurt Cobain related, and obviously wasn't when he died, because he died when I was 1. But when I turned 28, I got into a weird thing about like Kurt Cobain died at 27. So I was like, oh, it's very strange to think about how like I've now outlived my hero. Like I was and on top of that, getting off of heroin, I was like, I was able to do like two things that my like fucking hero was not able to do. And I had this like weird, like, does this mean I'm better than fucking Kurt Cobain? I didn't actually think that, but
No.
yeah, just like a strange like thought for like the entire day. But that's the most I no, I never fucking cried over a death of
Yeah,
a celebrity. I will tell you though, you know who I will probably die when they cry is Ellen DeGeneres. I'm kidding. I was trying to think of
Cry
some
when they
random-
die, you mean?
Cry.
Did I say
I'll
die
when they cry. I'll
Yeah.
die when Ellen DeGeneres cries. I'm fucking dead, dude.
I will. Dude, I love since we were talking about Howard Stern earlier, you got to look it up. When Howard Stern talked about Ellen, he was talking about, I guess Ellen DeGeneres used to like she used to like adopt dogs. And I guess when you adopt a dog, you sign a contract that says if it doesn't work out, you need to bring the dog back to the place. You can't give the dog to someone else. And I guess back in the day, Ellen was notorious. Like her and her lesbian wife would adopt
Oh,
dogs. And
Portia.
I think it was her.
Yeah.
They would adopt a dog and like something would happen to where it wouldn't work out with the dog and they would give the dog to someone else like they weren't supposed to do. And I guess this happened like dozens of times. And finally she got in trouble for it and she got caught up and this was kind of a thing back when it happened. And
She goes, "She happened to Rob. Ellen died." Dude.
and so I guess it was kind of a thing. Like finally one of the dog places caught her. They were like, dude, you need to bring the dog back. And Ellen like went on TV and cried and was like, we were just trying to give the dog to a loving family that would have liked it. So Howard was talking about why is Ellen adopting a dog every week and saying it's not working out? Like what's going on with her and her wife that they're adopting dogs every week and they just get like, do the dogs not like her? Is she a bitch? What's going on? And
Yeah, well, animals are great judges of character.
yeah,
and from what
don't
I
you
hear,
know-
she's a piece of shit in
Yeah,
personal real life.
Ellen is notoriously like the evilest woman in Hollywood.
I know that, but it was Howard Stern in his best, like making a funny thing about Ellen adopting a dog every week. It was hilarious, and he was poking out like so many holes that you wouldn't think about. You're like, yeah, why the fuck was this bitch adopting so many dogs and giving them away? Like, what's going on here?
Did you ever see the Howard Stern episode where he has Richard Simmons on? Holy shit, dude.
I
If
don't
you've
think
never
so.
seen that, you gotta watch. They make him cry. Like this is like the Howard Stern that like we used to know and love. Like he was such a dick. Oh my god, bro. Like they make him cry. It's a funny one. You gotta watch that if you haven't.
Dude, if we can, I want to
Richard Simmons died this year, actually.
Oh, we should cry.
Rest in peace. Richard!
Richard Simmons.
Your little fucking candy shorts. I love them.
Isn't Richard Simmons the one that did Richard Simmons like kids?
No, no. I mean, everybody.
Oh, I'm thinking of Richard Pryor, I think.
Yeah. He supposedly like he says he wasn't gay, but like dude, Richard Simmons screams gay. I don't know if you could pull up
Is
the
Richard Simmons the workout guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was gay.
Yeah. I actually, it's funny because at my old job, Captain Calamari, the one that's always in here, my last day of work, or no, it was my first day at my new position. I was planning on losing weight and shit. So he bought me a Richard Simmons Chia Pet. He fucking brought it in. He's like, "You gonna get to work losing weight?" And I'm like, I still have it somewhere. It's fucking funny. But
Dude,
yeah.
I'm gonna find it and make you guys watch it really quick.
What?
Hold on.
What, the Howard dog thing?
No, it's oh, here we go. Just because it's October. Let me get it. The Howard Stern, the Halloween, where so the context, I mentioned this earlier. The context is that I guess there was a methadone clinic like next door to the studio. And he's got a bunch of tables in the studio that are rigged to like shake. So Howard sent a guy to go get all these junkies that are in line for the methadone clinic and brings them into the studio so they can perform a seance and watch the spirits at the table. And Howard does it so well. He's just so serious about it. And there's a guy who starts crying and he like thinks it's his like sister or his dad or something. Hold up.
Actually, I'm starting to see that move a little bit. Starting to wobble.
Call me, folks.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's over happening here.
Yeah, so these are all junkies that were just waiting at the methadone clinic next
Here it
door.
is.
Stand up. We'll get a chair.
Stand up.
Stand up. Stand with the thing. Stand up. Stand up with the thing. Yeah, this is starting to. Look at Howard over here.
Over here. They're starting to go like crazy. All the tables are moving. I swear to God.
Hey, you are not moving.
They're all moving. They're all moving.
Stand. You're not doing this. No,
I don't know what's going on,
You're not doing
Chris.
Are you making the table move?
Stand up. Come on.
No.
Starting to move. I swear to God.
Stand up.
They are shaking. You'll see it on the E! Show tonight. Stand up if it's moving. Here it goes. Here it goes. Here goes the tip. Here it goes. Whoa, whoa. One table collapsed behind you, Robin.
Together.
Put it back together and try and get your hands back.
By the way, you did not push that.
Are you doing that? Are you guys doing that? Happening over here. This table's falling. Oh my God, this table is collapsing, Preston.
You guys, look at that.
You'll see it on the E! Show tonight. I swear it's really happening. Some people fell down. Some people fell down. Are you guys all right? Are you all right? Are you all right?
It's almost
Stand up.
done.
Stand up. Get the table together.
Are you okay? He's scared. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
Okay?
Yeah.
He's
Listen,
fine.
Folks, all of you, take one hand off the table. Watch how quickly they stop.
Can you believe it? Take one hand off the table. One hand.
Howard,
This guy got shook up.
that's all right.
What do you think of that?
His brother
His brother just died. He felt he tapped into his brother.
Yeah.
What happened, sir?
He's his brother.
says
How
his-
long ago is your brother?
No, wait. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. All right, he's leaving. He's leaving.
All right, that's okay.
All right, he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like.
What are they wearing?
I think some of them were like
Yeah, why are
plants.
they wearing that shit?
Yeah,
So
What?
some of them were Howard's guys in like Halloween costumes.
When
He doesn't
was
like
he
it.
like a
He's like
BDSM? Like,
they're scared. They're scared. She's scared. She doesn't like it.
I love that it's just like that on the fly stuff. Like, yeah, there's a methadone clinic next door. Let's go get some guys and do a seance. And one guy freaks out and thinks his brother. It's his brother. Doesn't John Cena? Yeah, John Cena has a great interview with Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Howard Stern used to do the best interviews. There's a couple episodes with Vince McMahon he did that were really good. But yeah, John Cena was saying that fat girls need love, and he was saying like he's had some of his best nights with fat girls.
Yo, you gotta real quick. You gotta pull it up. Pull up. Elliot yells at Robin. It's Howard Stern.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
That same guy that I interviewed, Annie. I sent you guys that like weird ass tranny guy. This is him before he transitioned, and he makes like he fucking flips out on Robin. Like they have to escort him out of the building. Like it's real. It's pretty crazy. You gotta watch it real quick. It's quick. Like I've never seen anybody flip out that bad on the show.
All right, I pulled into the middle of it. Tell me if I'm like in a good spot or a bad spot. We're kind of on the fly here.
Here.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Not the
hear
baseball
it's
player,
good,
the guy
yeah.
from Howard 100 News.
That's Nick Piazza. Nick. I gave him a new name, Nick.
This was
right?
Why?
2 weeks ago.
Because I felt like doing. I do what I fucking want, right?
Mike
Okay.
has been covering the story about this unfortunate
All right,
accident.
that's right.
Yes,
So,
go ahead.
All right, here it is. Now, listen, Stern, you know I like you, right?
Right.
Oh, how would you get that impression?
Stern, you know I like
Who
you.
knows what if you like me?
Stern, you know I like you. You know you're a nice guy. You put me on television and radio for 7 years around the country since 2000, right?
Okay, go ahead.
And here are the issues. I'm going to make it short and sweet. Don't interrupt me, right? This can take a few minutes.
Well, I'm allowed to do what I
such
want.
a
Well, you can do what you
tough
want.
guy.
I just walk the fuck out, right?
You
got
walk out, you
nothing,
walk
right?
out.
Okay, so that's it. So you're holding and you stand there holding your cock, right? So here it is. Let me get through what I gotta get through. Let me get through what I gotta get through, right?
We have a deal.
Okay.
We have a deal. If you walk out now,
Right.
the rest of the deal isn't in place. So you promise that you would do
Right. So, but first I make my statement, then I
Well, make it already.
Then I
Don't
acquiesce.
tell me I can't talk.
Listen, I'm going to say what I want. You're not going to bother me. You interrupt me. That's
Well,
the end of
say
both
it.
deals. Okay.
Say it.
So shut your hole up.
Hey,
right?
don't threaten me, big guy.
All right, I just leave the fucking joint. A few more words and we're all over, right? Here's the issue. The issue is this. Like, number one, I want to find out. I have a question. I want to find out, right?
Yeah.
Why you were married to this wonderful girl, Allison.
Right.
She booted you in the fucking
What
hole and,
that got to do why
and
you're
threw you
here?
out of the shut your cunt face, okay?
asking my
She
question?
threw you out of the house, out of your own house. Clear Channels booted you off the fucking air. They took your contract away from K-Rock. They took you off Saturday night television. Les Moonves has a $500 million litigation. He's going to take all your money for grand larceny and misappropriation of funds.
Well, we'll see about that.
Okay, the question is, you know, because I like you as a human being, What the fuck is going on with you? You're getting one shot in the mouth after the other. The next
No,
thing
I'm
you're going to
not.
be in a nursing home.
Elliot,
The next
Elliot,
thing you're going to be in a nursing home, right? You're going to be dead before you're 60,
You're
right?
responsible for
You're
the
gonna be
death of a
dead
woman.
before
You're the
60,
responsible for
right?
the death of
You're
a
gonna
woman.
be
Let's
dead
get to the
before you're
story.
60. So that's
Good.
all I wanted to fucking say, right? Now let's
You've
get
said
to the
nothing.
story.
Talk about your
I
problems.
just told you about your
You're a
fucking
fucking
problem.
jailbird.
I just told you your fucking problems.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself,
I
he's got
just
some
told you
nerve
about
pointing
all
out
your
maybe-
fucking problems.
I don't have any
And
problem.
You got all kinds of problems. Didn't they just take you off K-Rock Radio? They put you in a fucking joint where you got
They didn't take me
you
off
got
K-Rock
91
Radio.
fucking people listening to you, right? You're a fucking rusty nail. You're a fucking
And
recluse
what are
husband.
you?
You look like
You're
the
a
last
never
shit I
was.
took,
You're
right?
a never
You look
was.
like the last shit I took.
You're
You
a
look like the
never
last
was.
shit I took, right? Close your mouth, cunt face,
Who the
right?
F are you?
Okay.
You're a never
look,
was.
Look what you look like. You look like you're ready to
Never
die,
Loser,
cunt face.
loser,
Look what you look
loser,
like, cunt
loser.
face. Look
What'd
what
you
you
do?
look like,
What did
cunt
you
face.
do? Pack
Look what
up
you
your
look like,
crap
cunt
in the
face.
bags
Look
under
what
your
you
eyes.
look like,
You don't
cunt
gotta
face.
play the whole
Stand
thing.
up,
You don't gotta
cunt
play the
face.
whole thing.
Dude,
You
I
don't
would
play the
I
whole
would
thing.
love for our stuff to become like this. Like we need to start bringing
That's-
people on and
Yes.
doing this.
But I interviewed that fucking whack job, and he became a woman. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Dude, we gotta bring people
I just,
like
God.
we gotta bring people on that like that hate
I
us.
was watching Annie's face the whole time. She's just like, her fucking eyes are like this big. It's so funny.
We gotta find people to bring on that will like
We gotta find crazy ass fucking people, man.
well, not necessarily just crazy ass people. The problem is that one, I'm tired of phone motherfuckers. I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with phone motherfuckers. Luckily, Jenny's not in the chat, so I will outright say this. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe this
ironic.
motherfucker like set up a mess of candles and then put his phone like across the room to do an entire stream. So when you stream with your phone, unless you have like AirPods or a microphone, your phone is the microphone. So I don't know if you guys know how a microphone works, but you usually want to talk into
Yeah,
it, not
no
across
shit.
the room from it.
Good evening.
On top of that, when your phone is the camera, it's not the greatest quality. So the candles just look like a mess of fucking light. So it just looks like you're just sitting at a table in front of a mess of light, yelling it across the room from me. So
It's
I don't
my
want crazy.
fiber optic connection.
I don't, jeez, I don't want crazy people that are talking across the phone or talking across the room with their phone. But I do want people that will come on and like call Mark a cunt face and like get into fights with us.
Yeah, fucking cunt. I already had that. We need the guy to come back and keep roasting me on how I'm not a. He's not a real emo. He's not a real emo.
We gotta. I should have gone through all the comments of our reel that's doing really well and been like, "Do you really fucking hate how I look? Will you come on and like talk shit to me?"
Yeah, please roast Disco Acid.
No, it wouldn't even be a roast because I'd be going back. I'd be the Howard in the situation. Is the thing.
Anyway, I gotta go soon. I'm fucking beat.
Yeah, 2 hours later, Mark will be here.
Yeah, well, it's like your bullshit fucking Gavin Newsom time.
Well, it's like Jenny pops up in the chat 2 minutes before Mark.
No,
has to
I
go.
guarantee like
you said.
they've been caught, so we'll see if they even come back.
And he hasn't talked to you? Oh, Andy Phil Grimrock in on Andy Dick.
Andy Dick just didn't happen. We talked to him for Mark talked to him, corresponded with him, and it just didn't work out, which is fine. I think
I actually talked to him on the phone, and then his producer like got involved and was like really weird. Like it got changed to like it was like Andy was like trying to like actually talk to me, and he was like kind of being funny. He's like, "Is that you talking to me, or is it your butt?" So he said just like that, and then his producer grabbed the phone, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it sounds like he has a guy. It was kind of weird. I don't want to like talk shit about interactions with people, but it was kind of weird. I guess the guy was like, oh, I'll set this up with you. We'll organize this.
What?
And then the guy was like, oh, text, yeah, digital spell. And then the guy was like, yeah, text me and we can set this up. And then Mark texted him, and the guy just obviously wasn't interested in doing
Yeah,
it.
I was like, hey, like whatever. They just weren't interested, whatever.
Which is fine. Like I said, I feel like at 149 subscribers, Andy Dick probably would have done more damage than good. Like I
I
said,
think, yeah,
I
like
don't
I said,
know.
I think he was maybe either drunk or tired when he texted me and was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'm down for that." You know what I mean? He like put hearts and stuff.
yeah, that part was funny.
So yeah, it was like heart exclamation point. I got excited. I was like, "Oh great!"
As soon as they were like, "Oh, text me," I was like, "Why would they? We were just on the phone. Like, why wouldn't you just?"
Yeah, he was like, we're filming something. We got to go. And I was like, okay, sorry to bother you guys.
Yeah, no, it just didn't work out. I don't think they were into it, which is fine. I'm not going to drag anyone for not wanting to come on a YouTube channel with 149 subscribers. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't go on a fucking YouTube channel with 149 subscribers.
This is not me talking shit, but I just thought it was funny how I was like, yeah, like we're kind of like nobodies, and he's like, well, guess what, buddy? I'm a nobody too. Just the way he said it was funny as hell.
Yeah, no, it's dude, it would take a lot for me to agree to spend an hour talking to people when there's like nothing I would benefit from. Anybody that comes on the show at this point that has a bigger following this, like they'd be doing us a huge favor, honestly.
Yeah, we need some guests. We need some guests for sure.
We can get Tim back on.
No, I still think we should try to establish the main trio, at least at first. I mean, obviously once in a while we'll have people on, but I'm not necessarily concerned about having a plethora
Well,
of people on.
we're still supposed to have my other friend Annie come next week for the seance. So
How's her heart doing? She had a heart attack.
I'm gonna fucking
She
Howard
had,
Stern her if she does a seance on air.
I don't know what. Yeah. I think she's doing okay. She's been resting a lot. I think she's been really tired, but she hasn't told me otherwise. She still said like we're good for next week. So we will
Dude, if
find
she does a
out.
seance, I'm gonna cry and be like, my brother just died last week. I think that's my brother.
Please summon Jenny into the chat.
Yeah, can you bring Jenny into the chat?
Yeah, it's seasonal. It's seasonal cereal time.
And
so.
I do know that she has a laptop because her and I have used Zoom together. So I don't think she will be using a phone. It will be from a laptop.
Yeah, to me, the phone is the quality of the guest. When I had my buddy on, he used
Quality
the
of
phone.
the guest.
When I had my buddy on, he used a phone, but he also had AirPods, so he had an actual like microphone to talk into. And then it's also the quality of the guest. If it's just like a dude, it's like, okay, I don't really need to put up with this if you're not going to get anything out of interview Jenny. We have already interviewed Jenny, and that also did not work out because unforeseen circumstances came up. You have to make your table. Yeah, I'll sit here and like, as she's doing it, like, oh my.
Well,
brother.
I will say that like when I have video chatted with her, whenever there is a spirit in the room, the lights in her room do flicker, so we will be able to see that.
Just her husband going like this with the lights.
Dude, you gotta know.
Do the voice will come forward.
You gotta know that like if Tristan Randall and Pina Moche are in the chat, if Dirty White Boy's in the chat, Protomax might even pop off. This shit might not go so well as far as like them taking her seriously.
Yeah, like you could hear her be like, all right, hit the lights. Ooh, ooh.
Dude, there's 2 videos on YouTube about my friend and I in like 8th grade pretending to make ghost videos, and there's one of us like under a bed shaking the bed.
I wish you still had that. You still have it?
I do still have them.
We're gonna watch that.
They're very short. They're very short. So I'll pull them up just because they're tiny and short. They're hilarious. We were very obsessed with ghost videos at the time, so we were like, dude, let's just make our own. And we're like, well, how do you do that? And we were like, well, we literally called it Poltergeist Clip here. It has like 1,000. So I think it has like 1,000 views at this point.
You were more popular back then than you are now.
See, the closet door closes.
What the fuck?
Watch, it gets better though.
So that's you under there?
I don't remember which one was holding the camera. But then the best part is we're like, well, we have to have the proof that it's a real ghost. So we did this. You gotta show that there's nothing under the bed.
Man, that was some fucking hardcore, special effects.
Why did you do that?
Dude, 1,000 views. Yeah, hell yeah.
It's got 4 likes.
But it was also 16 years ago. We were just obsessed with ghost videos all the time. We're like, what we're supposed to be real ghost videos. So we were just like, let's make a ghost video. Well, wait, we don't have a ghost. Let's just
Rob just
I don't know, dude. We were just kidding. That was the innocent days of YouTube when that was like We also had another one where a door slams. It's just a camera shot of a door for like 45 seconds, and then somebody from behind that you can't see kind of pulls the door shut.
All right, I'm getting off only because I'm exhausted and I regretted it so bad last time. I literally like the alarm went off and I was like, "Fucking disco ass is cold." Fuck,
Do you
just
want
get
to
out
do
of the
a
bed.
Do you want to do a movie Saturday, or do you want to do a whatever Saturday?
You tell me, man. Don't matter. I'm off, so it'll be work. It will work.
damn
Jeez,
it.
can't talk. You tell me.
Oh yeah, we got to decide. Saturday I'll have work until 5, so I'd have to watch the movie on Thursday or Friday, which I could do, obviously.
Hey, just let me know.
I'm still waiting for you to watch Blue Lagoon, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah,
What-
you suck. She bought it for you and everything.
What are
Yeah.
we gonna do? I think the thing about, okay, so if we do My Bloody Valentine, the thing I have to tell you is if you find it, you have to try to find, and if you can't, it doesn't matter. It's honestly not a big deal, but try to find the director's cut because there's extra gore in the kills.
Could you do a watch party on here? Like, could we watch all movie together and then pause it at certain scenes?
So we can't show the movie.
So
But
you got-
here's the thing. There's two options. One, we can literally, so something that people will do is they'll do watch alongs where like I'll watch the movie on my TV, but you can't see it or hear it to the audience. They can just, I'll say I'm pushing play right now and the audience is supposed to press play too. Or something that I do want to do is the classics that are in the public, what's it called? Public domain. So like we could watch Night of the Living Dead. We could watch House on Haunted Hill. We could watch nice. One of my favorite ones is fuck, I can't remember the name of it. Carnival of Souls. That's one of my absolute favorites. So we could watch those old black and white movies on here and do like straight up watch alongs. Those would be fun. The only thing that would be a problem with stuck with the wife going to, dude, I love bingo. I fucking love bingo.
Me too.
The problem with if we all, either all three of us or two of us did a watch along together is that I control it. So like, let's say we're watching a scene and Mark wants to say something. It could get weird. Like Mark would have to put his hand up. And then on top of that, I can't see. And on top of that, I can't see you guys if I'm on the other screen watching the video. So it would be kind of weird. We could try to figure it out. We'd have to like develop a chemistry about it. But yeah, just because since I'm the only one that can push play, it might get kind of
It's like such a bitch.
Figure it out.
yeah. And even then, like I said, I might not be able to see you if I'm, because when I'm doing a share screen, I'm on a different tab, so I can't see us on camera right now. And then I got to come back to you have to see it, but it's annoying.
Big Andy Dick, you want to do a watch party for Blue Lagoon with us? Come on, man. Yeah, I pretty much would do that. Yeah,
He was probably
$150.
he was the ghost director of Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, he did the casting, if you know what I mean. All right, so I'm going to get off, but yeah, I normally don't leave early,
we
but
should do a watch party for.
oh,
Blue
here we
Lagoon.
go. Here we go. Annie, I'm
Well,
getting
we're-
tired. It's about 7:30. We gotta go to bed.
I'm just saying that we should do a watch party for Blue Lagoon.
Let's
That
do it.
would
I'm
be
down.
really hilarious.
I'm down.
So the watch party of a movie that we can't show on screen would honestly be even worse because then we'd all three be watching it on our own TVs and then just kind of talking randomly.
People just watching us be like,
well, not only that, but like every
Are
time
those boobs?
every time I pause it to say something, like you guys wouldn't pause it, and then we'd all get off time, and it'd be something you have to do in person. Is that you or your butthole talking?
I think he's referring to the phone call that we had.
The Andy Dick thing.
Yeah. All right, I gotta go. You guys have a good one.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry to be
Okay.
so sudden, but
Potentially
tomorrow
do
I'm
the
gonna be
seance
beaten.
next week. So.
All right, hit
We'll
the
see.
lights. Hit the
Yeah,
lights.
hit the lights. Move the table.
All right, later, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Who else here still? I know Dirty White Boy just commented. Grimrock just commented. Protomax is still here. It says I have 4 people on YouTube, but I only ever have 3 people commenting. My thing could just be wrong again. I'm probably also going to go soon. It also says I have someone on Twitch. I know someone on YouTube just left. It's probably how it is though. There's always one person on Twitch, and it's always a mystery as to who is watching on Twitch because they never comment. Somebody was up here commenting earlier, but he took off. It seems like he left. Our famous friend from the Camp Rock movie. Dirty White Boy, I think I have to text you back. Am I texting you back or are you texting me back? No, yeah, I gotta text you back. I'll text you back when I get off here. And then we gotta talk more about our future plan. Dude, I damn near, now that I found out where you live, which obviously I won't give details on live, I might just try to bring you that microphone like before we even do the first stream. Because I might as fucking well. It wouldn't even be that hard to get to you. It'll be tight though. If it'll be just two of us, we both have like nice microphones. It'll be Jenny's ghost. It could be Jenny. It could be Jenny watching us and just not commenting. This is 5 watching on YouTube. Yeah, see on my end, now it says there's 3 on YouTube and then 1 on Twitch. There's, like I said, there's always one mystery on Twitch. I don't know why. It's just pretty much always rolling. I had other stuff I was going to talk about tonight that we never got to. There's always stuff I bring up that we never get to because we get onto other stuff. There are times that I want to get into serious stuff, but I never get to get into any serious stuff. We only ever really do like a couple of the things, and then we kind of just joke about them, which I guess is fine. I think I missed this one. Crash the car, blame the seance. Yeah, you probably should. I think the seance is gonna go I don't know. I think it's damn near gonna go comedically. I don't think it's gonna go the way that they're planning on it going. Speaking of Jenny, the person that we found out that Jenny is, Annie has talked to him, and he's still denying that he is Jenny. So it's like beyond obvious at this point too that it's him, and he's still just like, oh yeah, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Serious stuff like what? I don't know what you mean. The seance stuff. I was saying I don't think the seance is going to go. First of all, I'm not going to call it a seance. I don't think they're actually planning on doing a seance. I don't know, but if somebody comes on the show in one of the little squares on the screen and does a seance where the lights in her room flicker and she changes her voice, I was saying I don't think it's going to go like as seriously as she thinks it's. You know, if we have a chat that has like the regular people in it, it's you know, they're going to be cracking jokes. It's going to be like played comedically. Talk about Project Bluebeam. What the fuck? I've heard that title. What exactly is Project Bluebeam? Conspiracy theory that claims NASA is attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist as its head. I've heard a lot of stuff about how NASA is the serious stuff. 2 of my things that I've been wanting to talk about are the nostalgia trend of, like, you know, you go online and there's all these nostalgia content like videos and reels. I've constantly wanted to talk about it, but I never get to on here. It always gets like interrupted or just not brought up. I wanted to talk about its like effects. I feel like it has like bad psychological effects on like the current, like the younger generations, like to constantly be berated with look at how good stuff used to be and look at how shitty things are now. And it's also a bummer for old people like me because it's just every day you get on Instagram and it's like, oh, remember when you used to be happy, and remember when stuff used to be fun, and it's depressing. And then I wrote down the effects of depressing music being trendy on the young generations today. I feel like music wasn't always so depressing. Like back in like the like damn near the like 40s all the way up through the 80s. Music was supposed to be like an upbeat kind of, you'd go out to see live music and like be in a good mood, and like it was kind of a cheerful thing. And I feel like it was like in the 90s when like Nirvana came out, music kind of got depressing. I know in my generation, like I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance is like one of the anthems, and it's a fucking song called I'm Not Okay. And I feel like that has to have a correlation to like the spike in depression nowadays. I only thought of that because I was listening to, you know, those like lo-fi songs that you see on like Instagram reels, like the nostalgia reels and the sad reels of like guys that miss their ex-girlfriends. And it's like a quiet lo-fi song. It's like Antent. I think there's a guy called My Head is Empty. Is that what he's fucking called? I like that stuff. It's just all really sad. And it's like, imagine just listening to like constantly sad music and hearing like sad stuff. Yeah, My Head is Empty. And yeah, the nostalgia stuff sucks. It does suck because it is true. I do think stuff used to be better. But I would like to not be bombarded with it every time I go online. I would like to at least pretend like things can still be cool like today. I don't need to get like a constant stream of remember how good stuff used to be and like how much fun you used to have. And you know, yeah, it's totally true, but can we at least like fake it and try to act like things are still cool? Because it gets old really quick. Personally, it just bums me out. And then yeah, I would imagine the younger generation, you know, the nostalgia was like never a thing when I was in high school. We didn't listen to like old bands, and it's cool that kids are listening to old bands. Like I've met a lot of kids on the Instagram that are like 19 that are really into like the Doors and Led Zeppelin. That wasn't a thing when I was in high school, but we weren't like obsessed with like, oh, look how cool stuff used to be in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and even the early 2000s. We were just kind of doing our own thing and keeping like up to date on music. Whereas nowadays, yeah, everybody's obsessed with like how things used to be, which makes sense for old people. Yeah, I would imagine if you're like 16 and you go on Instagram and you just see all these posts about how stuff sucks now, it's probably going to bum you out a little bit. And then you get all these like annoying kids that are like, oh yeah, I was born in the wrong generation and don't actually know what they're talking about. They're just, I hate when kids say that because it's, they don't really, you know, it's just kind of a trendy thing to say. A lot of people are nostalgia for shit. Yeah, there's like a term for it, having nostalgia for shit you never had. And yeah, music that I would consider real music. I mean, I like electronic music and like computer music, and I like pop music. I still like Taylor Swift. I really like Sabrina Carpenter's new stuff. But it's not anywhere near at the level, like even when I was in high school, the stuff that was coming out. Yeah, see, Grimrock's keeping it alive. Grimrock is always, of course, keeping rock and roll going. But yeah, everything now is just like depressing. Maybe one or two good things here and there. Yeah, music, it's nowhere near. I was talking about it earlier on my reel that's going around right now. Some people are commenting and they're like, oh no, you're wrong. There's good music out there. You just have to really find it. I was like, that's kind of the whole point. You never used to have to find it. You used to just turn on the radio and there was the good music. You know, you would just turn on the TV and there was the good music. But now you have to go fishing around the internet to find anything. And it's like, well, I don't want to sit on my computer for 6 hours just to find one band that is kind of decent. I want to just go about my day and be presented with the good music as like it used to be. It's funny because I pretty much say 2012 is like the year. My band, I was last in a band. My band broke up in like 2014, I think it was. And there was like a few good things that I was into around then. But yeah, generally I call it at 2012. That's when most of the stuff that I was into pretty much stopped. Getting like 3 viewers when Annie and I left. Yeah, it always happens like that. I swear we stream too early. No, I think people just, it's Wednesday night. Mark, you're East Coast time, so I know that's a challenge, but yeah, if Annie would stay on later, she'd catch, I swear to God, every time you guys get off, I sit here for like 2 minutes and like 3 more people pop up. So I figured I'll start sticking around at least for a little bit. I'm considering doing I want to start doing longer streams. I have ideas for Wednesdays that I haven't mentioned to you guys yet, but they have to do with another friend of mine. I might try to do like back-to-back streams where it'd be me with 2 different groups of people. I'm not sure yet. But I know there's a reason. They're like the Whatever podcast, that stupid dating podcast. They do like 7 to 8 hour streams. And it's because throughout that 7 to 8 hours, like a shitload of people come through. And so we only do like 1.5 to 2 hour streams, which is a good time if you've got like a big audience, but we don't have a big audience. I think it'd be best if we could somehow find a way to do like 2 to 3 hour streams even. Basically, the longer time you spend on, the longer time you have for people to stumble across your stream. There's a lot of people that feel there'll be another shift in music soon. I like to think that, but I'm also kind of very pessimistic. I almost think we're done with good music. I think it might be over. To understand it, but seems like everything got shittier on social media. Yeah, social media is like the biggest, I think the biggest reason that ruined everything. Shows graph out there to show the correlation on my nights off when I'm down. Dude, I still don't even really know your schedule very well. You should definitely mention like every morning, whenever you have like a day that you can do like a fucking long stream. Yeah, like next Wednesday. Well, I got to see, because I have a plan for next Wednesday that I still have to mention to you guys. So I'll bring that up. But any other day that you're off, like, I don't know, like say it in the group chat, like the text, like every day, be like, I'd be off on this day and that day or whatever. I'd be down for a long stream. I think with social media, I think even more than social media itself being the problem, I always say it's when social media got put into people's pockets. Yeah, see, Sherm Smoker showed up right now. What's up, man? Because like I was a kid when MySpace was around, and that was fine. MySpace was cool. It was just on your computer at home. You'd sit on it for an hour or two, and then you'd go out and you were not connected to MySpace. You were out doing your own thing. But once they put social media in your pocket, in your smartphone, that's when shit got kind of weird from what I remember. That's when stuff got, everybody's face was buried in their phone, and everybody became, after the smartphone came out, that's when everybody became a rock star, and everybody was making their own music, and everybody thought they were going to, get famous, and everybody wanted to be an influencer, and everybody wanted to, AI is definitely going to fuck up with art too, because studios are going to stop paying artists and just start using AI to like make all the art because it's free. Yeah, MySpace was the best. I'm personally biased toward MySpace because of the generational thing, but also the fact that it was just on the computer. It was not on your phone, which isn't necessarily MySpace related. It's just technology related. But when social media got put in the palm of your hand, so that you were never disconnected from it, that's when shit got ruined. Dude, we had Twitter when I was in school. I remember when Twitter came out, and it was like you put a Twitter badge on your MySpace page, and you would connect your phone number to it. You would text the number 40404, and that's how you sent your tweets. And then your most recent tweet would show up on this little badge on your MySpace page. And then I remember when YouTube, not when YouTube came out, but I remember when I first discovered YouTube in like middle school, I think it was. But yeah, I think it's social media being in your pocket is like the biggest hindrance. And then the rise of like people wanting to be, everybody wants to be famous. You can go and do cool shit and come home and tell your homies about it. Yeah. On top of it, it's almost like stupid how nowadays you just get notifications throughout the day. But when you had MySpace, when it was just on your computer at home, you would go out and then you would come home and you would build up all your notifications because you were out all day, and it was more fun that way. Now you just get one notification like every so often, and it's just not as fun. And then, yeah, it fucks up with the creative stuff because it just, there's too many people like trying to be like famous for doing artistic shit, and it kind of fucks with everybody that's actually talented. Like I always mention, like the Catch Me Outside girl getting signed to a major label record deal. But then you have like actually talented musicians that are kind of just stuck doing comedy videos on TikTok just because that's all they can really do to get likes and follows. I think the whole attitude of like you can do whatever you want and you can be whatever you want, I think that's kind of a bad like idea. That's not how it's supposed to be. You cannot do whatever you want. You cannot actually be whatever you want. There's supposed to be realistic like limits. Exactly what last of them because we definitely had it. I don't want to say we had it the best. I don't think we had it the best, but we had it as far as social media goes. We had it the best when it was just social media on your computer, like the way it should be. It's just at your house, and that's all. Once you leave the house, that's it. I remember when I was in high school, like your phone would die, and it would never be a big deal. It's like, oh yeah, my phone's dead. Nowadays, your phone doesn't even die because you've got 700 ways to charge it outside of the house. Yeah, no, my phone used to die all the time. It's kind of like, oh, whatever. I don't really need it anyways. Usually you're just like texting your ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I always forget about that too, that phones used to actually die. And it was like not the end of the world. No pagers. Aren't pagers? Pagers are only for doctors and drug dealers, right? I remember that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode where Will has a pager and he's like at his family's party and like his pager starts beeping and everybody looks at him and thinks he's like some kind of crook because he has a pager. I think he was dressing like a hoodlum in that. That was like the whole theme of that episode was he was dressing like a hooligan and like did some kind of cool shit with his hair. And Uncle Phil was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then you got a pager or two. I love that show. Yeah, the battery coming out of your phone was always funny. It was usually just like a thing off the back. I wonder why they like took that away. Like you can't take your battery out anymore. Just get my weed in the 90s via pager. The 80s didn't have that stuff that I still had. The corded phone or cordless phone back then. Dude, the 80s has been I've been pretty like obsessed with the 80s lately. Like everything I've been watching and listening to has been 80s. The pager, all the pager really did was send somebody like a notification, right? Like that's like if I paged you right now, all it would do is say, Rob paged you, and then you would do with that what you will. That would either mean you call me or we have an agreement that we made prior and like you meet me at the park or something. So it's kind of just like poking on Facebook. It's kind of what I always imagined it being like. Which is like I poke you and then hopefully we have some prior agreement that like what's supposed to happen after I poke you, essentially. I believe it. I think that's why they give homeless people phones. You know, I think they call them Obama phones. I think that's why they want people having phones. I think they give immigrants phones. Like when people come over the border. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, and I could be talking like conspiracy stuff. But I feel like I've heard they'll give anyone a phone. And I think it's because they want to be able to track everybody that is here. Man, I gotta get off here in like a minute. I never want to. Sucks. I always want to like stream like as long into the night as I can, but usually run at like 8:30ish. I usually try to run at 8, but usually when I'm doing this, I don't end up doing it until like 8:30. Because after I get off here, I have to go change and like get ready for going outside. Take a screenshot of your show today post. Yeah, for sure. I was hoping you would, since I have the shirt right here. Yeah, that's definitely why they give out phones. Yeah, I figured. It's not like they give a fuck if you actually have a phone. There's got to be a reason for it. I hate to be more conspiracy theory again, but that's why I think about like the fluoride in the water. You know, everyone has their ideas about the fluoride in the water, but which I don't know. But the one thing I will say is that somebody pointed out, they were like, do you think the government actually gives a fuck about the quality of your teeth? Like, do you think the government was just like, oh, we want everybody to have healthy teeth, so let's put like, they don't give a fuck. There's some other reason for it. Dude, the show doing good. Awesome. Watch it grow. Dude, it's slow. It's going slow, but it's good. I have some more plans. I have another buddy that I'm probably going to start bringing on. That I'm excited for that one. He was just in the chat earlier, but I think he's probably out of here by now. But which I guess would be like a second show that I'm bringing on. So I'd be streaming with like 2 different groups of people. I'm only on here right now just because there was some leftover people, or there was some people in the chat when everybody else got off, so I didn't want to get off. And why the battery doesn't come out no more, because people, when a modern phone is dead, it still has an emergency reserve of power. Oh yeah, that's true. Even when your phone is dead, you can like call 911 or whatever. Facts, if anything, they want us to. Yeah. So like, I hate to be like, fluoride. Right on, Grimrock. I'll probably get out of here soon too, so I'll catch you later, man. Yeah, I don't have any theories on what I think the fluoride is for, but I don't think the government was just like, oh, I want to make sure that everybody has nice teeth, because, that just seems very uncharacteristic of the government. And why their teeth? Like, why wouldn't you want them to have like healthy brains or healthy hearts? Like, why would it be the teeth? Yeah, I never thought about that. You're not supposed to swallow the toothpaste, but in the tap water, it's okay. I heard a theory. There's a guy I listened to, and he was talking about how fluoride comes from, like, its main compound or something is made from something that comes out of some kind of metal. And when this all started, it was because some guy, like some billionaire, like mogul, had like a bunch of companies, and they had a really large, like they produced a lot of metal that needed to be disposed of, and to pay money to get rid of all the metal would have cost a lot. But it turns out you can make fluoride out of this something in this metal. So then he schemed up this plan. So now he sells the metal to the government and makes a shit ton of money. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and listen to it, but it's a podcast. That guy that does the confessionals, he produces this podcast too. It's called Macroaggressions. It's like a play on microaggressions. It's this guy who's like an anarchist. He's pretty much a conspiracy theorist, but he's really, I think he's cool. He talks a lot about stuff, like of history. I think he's talked about like there's the whole, like the truth about Abraham Lincoln. Like Abraham Lincoln wasn't actually a good guy. He's talked about 9/11. He's talked about the fluoride. And then I like him because he talks shit about everybody. I like the guys that don't like anybody. I don't like the guy. Like, I listen to guys that are on one side or the other, but my favorite guys are the guys that just, they'll talk bad about all of them because they all do dumb shit. See, conspiracy, and they say calcifies our pituitary glands. I can't read, and fucks with our brains. Yeah, it's got to do something. It's got to do something aside from just like help your teeth, because I'm sure it was some stupid ass money. Yeah, that's how. That's why weed was so criminalized. I guess the guy that like owned basically like the paper industry back in the day, his main competitor was hemp, and he like launched this campaign to make weed and hemp seem like a really dangerous thing. And it kind of just stuck. And it was all just so he could sell more paper as opposed to people buying hemp instead of paper. Something stupid like that. I feel like a lot of stuff comes out of stupid stuff like that. But I'm gonna get out of here in a minute. I think you're like the last person in the chat anyways. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of weed anyways. So I really don't care, but it's funny that is the reason that it's so like vilified, I guess. I mean, it's not anymore now. I think now it's encouraged way too much. I wish they would, I don't want to say I wish they would crack down on it, but I wish they wouldn't, they went way too hard. Like when the whole like legalized marijuana movement was going on and they were literally talking about how it cures cancer and it's a fucking miracle. And it's like, wait a minute, like calm down. Like it's a fucking thing that you smoke and it makes you lazy and you eat a lot of food, which is not a bad thing, but it's not a fucking cure for like every disease in the world. It makes me feel fucking stupid and paranoid. And I like sit around for a couple hours and then I go to bed. There's got to be like a middle ground. Yeah, too many people smoke weed nowadays. But all right, I'm actually gonna go. I never know when to like go because I'm sure like I don't know if somebody's like typing a comment or something and then I'm about to get off. But yeah, I'm gonna get off of here. So I'll do my awkward outro where I kind of get out of here for like a couple seconds and then I'll click off.
Mm-hmm.